Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening, Andrew.
Are you being served?
Yes.
Fire practice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, quite a bit to get through, I think.
Yes.
Mr. Rumbold's office. The phone goes. It's young Mr. Grace.
Yes.
Who says they're going to do fire practice, but he's not to tell the staff it's going to happen. He just has
It's got to be a surprise.
stand by and take notes. And he doesn't even tell Mr. Rumbold when it's going to happen. So Mr. Rumbold's on edge for the rest of the episode. Really,
yes. Every time a bell goes, he's like, fire, fire.
So Mr. Harmon comes in, and he's got a load of wigs to put on the display dummies for some reason.
He puts on the wrong ones, doesn't he? Yeah.
But Captain Peacock tells him to don't procrastinate. And he says he's going away to look it up and see if it's, see what it means if it's rude. And if it is rude, he's going to come back with a long word implying he's a twit.
Yes.
He puts a moustache on a lady.
Yes.
On a lady dummy.
Yes.
And there's one that's got a bicycle.
Yes.
So he starts ringing the bicycle bell.
Yes.
And immediately Mr. Rumbold, fire, fire!
Comes running in.
Lucas and Mr. Humphreys are not to be seen.
No.
And when they're called for, they emerge
from behind the counter.
And they've been down there all the time.
Yes, they've been easing Mr. Humphreys' drawers.
Apparently, Mr. Humphreys' drawers have got all gummy.
Yeah, the runners.
Yeah, the runners. Then the bell goes to actually open the store.
Yes.
Fire, fire! And apparently there's a wedgie sale on.
Yes.
I wondered what that meant. it turns out to be shoes.
Yes.
So Miss Brahms and Mrs. Slocum come out of the lift.
Yes. And Captain Peacock, the bell dings on the lift, and Captain Peacock says to Mr.
Oh, yeah, that's the lift.
That's the lift, sir.
Mrs. Slocum says she's getting vertigo because they're really built up. Have you ever worn wedgies?
I did have a pair of shoes with a platform sole, but they had the heel to match and they weren't that high.
Yeah.
They're very high. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, generally I don't understand sort of shoes that aren't flat anyway, but
It's all to do with, particularly in ladies, with making your legs look longer and more shapely. It's something to do with the way it pushes your foot.
Yeah.
It makes your legs look nicer, apparently.
Okay.
I have given up wearing heels now because I spend too much time in flats. So.
But they're described as Frankenstein rejects, the way they're clumping about.
They do clonk a lot. Yeah. So like me and my Dr. Martens when I first tried them on.
Alright. But yeah, Mrs. Slocum's hair is sort of lilac-y purpley with some
I completely
grey.
missed what colour it was for some reason there.
Even Mr. Humphreys has got some on, hasn't he?
Yes.
His aren't quite the same, are they? Different sort of style.
Yeah, they're not quite so built up. So.
Mr. Harmon's still putting out wigs.
Yes.
And he goes, here's one for you, Kojak.
Yeah, and puts it on Mr. Rumbold.
Mr. Rumbold. Apparently making him look like Mr. Humphreys' grandmother.
Yes.
Yes. Excuse me. But yeah, Mr. Lucas is having trouble picking up ladies, isn't he? And there he goes to various places.
He's not having any
luck. Not having a success rate. So he's been to the Latin American dance class
over the co-op.
Yeah. And everybody there looks like Carmen Miranda, but not then, now.
Yes.
He's been to the disco, which has got UV lighting. Mr. Humphreys, under UV lighting, his jockey shorts showed up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And apparently Mr. Lucas has got capped teeth. Is that the first we've had mention of that?
That is the first time, yes.
I've got capped teeth.
Yeah.
Okay. And apparently somebody shouted, Dracula lives.
Yes. Because they showed up in the ultraviolet light.
Yeah.
Because I remember many years ago when we went to London a few times, the HMV, I think it is on Oxford Street, they've got a toilet in there and it's got ultraviolet light to stop people taking drugs in it. Obviously they'd have problems with people taking drugs in their toilets.
How does that stop
I don't
taking
know,
drugs?
but it did. That's what it was for. But it used to make your T-shirt look really weird. Because it highlights bits of it you sort of don't think about.
I've used UV light for various things in science. Used them for sort of liquid crystal components because it's all to do with the absorption of light at certain wavelengths. And when you do chromatography, you can look at it under UV light to see where all the blobs are as well. Okay. So I've used various forms of UV light, but no, I don't know about the drugs thing. But anyway, but yeah, the palette, you've got all the fellas on one side, which are all like clicking their fingers. Those are fingers, aren't they?
They are fingers.
And all the ladies
dancing around the handbags in the middle.
Yeah. Okay. Is why I never went to those sort of places. Yes. I feel out of place. Mr. Granger comes in. Now, what on earth shoes has he got? He's got
like Turkish slippers on because they've got a curly toe.
Curly shoes. At least they didn't try and put him in wedgies.
No, that would be a disaster, wouldn't it?
But enter an Arab sheikh and all his retinue, the emir, and all his wives.
Yes.
There's about 4 or 5 wives, and they sort of flock round Captain Peacock.
Yes, because he wants to speak to Top Man.
Yeah.
To the Top Man.
Mr. Rumbold comes in, and they make signs to ward off the evil ear.
Yes.
Because they don't like the look of him.
No.
So he gets a headscarf to put on.
And that doesn't help.
No. The Emir's... Captain Peacock goes into a thing about your children and your children's children and your children's children's children. He says, I'm 25.
There's no way he's 25. He's a lot older than that.
Yeah. But the wives are to wear the trouser in the harem. And apparently he's got 72 wives and 3 on Fridays.
Yes.
But, yes. Mrs. Slocum and Miss Braham sort of come over. And he asks why they're being punished for wearing these dreadful shoes. Yeah. But everybody has to sit on the floor. Mr. Granger obviously needs a hand.
Yes.
Mr. Lucas goes and gets the samples. Apparently the close weave keeps out the sand, and they've been tested at Margate.
Yes.
But the problem is what size. So was it Mrs. Slocum? It goes to measure the wife.
Yes.
And apparently women may not touch women.
No, but men may touch men.
But men may touch men. So Mr.
Or women.
Mr. Humphreys is.
He's picked because Captain Peacock says.
On hearing that men may touch men, Mr. Humphreys wants to know where they come from. Yeah.
Yes, and he says, Captain Peacock says, "Can men touch women?" And the emirs.
Yes, but then they get killed.
Yes. And then he goes round and picks Mr. Humphreys for some reason.
Mr. Humphreys may take the measurements, but still may not touch.
The wife.
Which presents him with a bit of a problem.
It does. Yes.
But you can start to see them being a little bit inventive now. I like the fact that just because you've got this problem, the characters suddenly have to think of something, and I think that shows, they're quite good at what they do. So they go to the lifts. And she touches her toes, and they shut the lift doors on her, and they get a reading of 18, and they double it because that will be the waist then.
Yeah,
near enough. Then the inside leg. What was it? One false move, and they'll turn him into an Enoch.
An Enoch, yes.
But she sort of spins round a bit and does the splits on the floor.
And they measure one leg.
No, they measure the whole thing.
Oh, the whole thing and half it, yes.
It's 58, so they divide it by 2 and it's 29. So then they've got...
It seems a bit bigger, 36-inch waist.
I know. No comment. But then they've got to do the payment. So, first of all, they bring in a goat. Yes. Did you like the goat?
It was really sweet.
Yeah. Captain Peacock was looking after it. Did you notice? He was stroking it a bit. One goat, one trouser.
Yeah.
But no, that's not acceptable. Then they've got a rug. And good rug. One rug for one trouser. No. And one wife for Mr. Granger.
Yes.
He can't believe what he's hearing, or
he's got a wife. He doesn't need another one.
What he's seeing. And the wife does a dancing demonstration.
Yes.
And Mr. Lucas is quite keen.
He is. Yes.
So Mr. Humphrey's only comment is, "I've got some curtains that colour."
Yes.
But that's why I like Mr. Humphreys.
Because he's just so down to earth. He's not bothered about there's a sort of half naked lady. Yeah, I've got curtains that colour.
Yeah, Mr. Lucas is he's all a bit leery and lechy, isn't he? And I think even as a kid, I preferred Mr. Humphreys because he showed respect.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't the sort of lech or anything like that. So, yeah, maybe he taught me respect for ladies.
Oh, maybe he did.
But yes, Captain Peacock, aren't you going to put a stop to this?
Yes.
All in good time, because he's having a good old look.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mrs. Slocum is described as the old one with a face like a lemon.
Yes. He says he'll swap the wife and the wife for the trousers and Miss Brahms and Mrs. Slocum.
Yeah. But eventually, it just comes down to money, doesn't it? They've got a big case full
of just wads and wads of money.
£100 notes.
Yes.
They say. I've never seen a £100 note. Are there £100 notes?
Not now.
I've seen £50 notes.
Yeah, not now.
Okay. But of course, then the fire bell goes
off.
So
yes.
fire.
Yes.
Was it Mr. Humphreys and Mr. Lucas? One for us and one for them.
Yeah.
One for us, and then a dagger just sort of comes in the picture. None for us and all for them. And Peacock manages to take the wife off, doesn't he? He does a fireman's lift.
He does.
But yes, Mr. Rumbold sort of calls a bit of a meeting.
Yeah. Well, you should also say as well, there's a lot of stuff with the till. They want to take the tills with them.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we are told if there's a fire, you don't take anything. You evacuate immediately. Well, because we've got two sorts of fire alarms. We've got an intermittent one, which means there's a warning and there's possibly a fire, and then a continuous one. And then on the intermittent one, you have to be ready. And on the continuous one, you have to evacuate immediately.
Straight away, yeah.
So you don't stand around peeing about with
trying to carry tills about.
No, you just go. You know, it's in a box. It's probably going to survive fire anyway. So.
But yeah, Mr. Rumbold sort of gives a report, and frankly, it wasn't very good.
No.
But yeah, Mrs. Axelby's is going to the ice rink with Mrs. Slocum. Yes.
And Mr. Lucas says, "Can you skate?" And she says, "Well, we don't know yet, but we thought if we fall over, somebody would pick us up."
Yeah. Mr. Humphreys has got a friend dancing in Swan Lake. Turns out he pinches a feather from her tail each time because he's restuffing a cushion.
Yes.
But the fire drill is generally considered to be a shambles, so they've got to hold a refresher course.
Yes.
Apparently, Captain Peacock is the fire expert.
I don't know if he's the fire warden.
Well, I was going to say, they don't say fire warden or anything, or marshal or anything like that. It's just expert. So maybe he's been on fire a lot.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's seen a lot of fire.
They talk about the fireman's lift. Mr. Granger is asleep again. Mr. Humphreys has to pretend to be unconscious, doesn't he? So he does a wonderful overacting faint.
He does,
The full sort of, and he sort of falls over and he gets a round of applause, doesn't he?
Yes.
They like that. And he says, that was his Lady Hamilton or something.
When he heard about Waterloo. Yeah. And Captain Peacock says, Nelson wasn't at Waterloo. He says, no, but my mother was and she missed her train.
Don't know quite what that's all about. But Mrs. Slocum's pussy is likely to be standing at the door with a tin opener in its mouth. And then they've got sort of, they're on the floor and there's Captain Peacock trying to
pick him up,
roll Mr.
roll him to pick him up over. And it
ends up with Captain Peacock face down on the floor with Mr. Humphreys on top of him.
Yes.
And Mr. Humphreys thinks he's doing quite well.
Yes. Mr. Harmon comes over.
Mr. Harmon comes in and just picks up Mr. Humphreys. He does it really easily.
He does.
I mean,
he was an auxiliary fireman in the war.
But Arthur English, I'm impressed that how easy he made that.
Perhaps he did actually know how to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Then Mr. Lucas has to attempt to get Mrs. Slocum out of a chair. And I think it's fair to say he has a spot of bother doing this, doesn't he?
Well, he ends up with the chair and everything, doesn't he?
And she's all legs, isn't she?
She's all legs and bloomers. And he's staggering around and he's got his hand on the chair and it's just ridiculously silly.
Yeah, and Wendy Richard is clearly laughing in the background.
But trying to act shocked.
She sort of puts her hands over her mouth, Mr. Harmon says about smoke, how you should have your nose on the floor.
Yes.
For breathing and head for the exit. There's no way Mr. Granger's getting down to do that.
No.
Then we've got the first aid dummy.
Yes.
The kiss of life sort of demonstration. Yes. Apparently, Mr. Harmon's got an Alsatian and he doesn't kiss that.
No.
And I like the way he has a bit of a...
He gets a bit of a huff.
Yeah.
Because it's like they're insinuating he wants to kiss all of them. And he's like, no, I don't.
And he sort of suddenly shows his more sort of artistic side, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I can't go on with this,
yes.
That I'm only being paid,
overtime for this.
It's not what I'm...
Did you ever do a first aid course with one of those dummies?
I'm trying to think. I think so. Maybe
you didn't have. This one's a full body one, isn't it? Yeah. I think we only had one that was just sort of the head and this part.
I think when I was at Merck, yes.
Yeah. And you had to go in and do mouth to mouth and then the compressions, which are completely different now. You don't do it the way they used to do it.
But this is called Myrtle, apparently.
Yes.
And if you sort of do it. He's got quite a big speech, hasn't he?
Yes.
And he sort of fumbles his line about putting life into the body.
Body into life. Yeah. Or life into body. But he does it
he makes it seem very natural.
Yes.
It's obviously he's not quite got it right.
Yeah.
But in character, he stays completely in character.
Yeah, he doesn't sort of...
Because that's, I think, probably the biggest, longest continuous speech he's had in the whole show up to this point. But if you do it right, a bell rings and the feet light up.
Yes.
I don't know that. Yes. Quite that. And everybody's got disposable hygienic lips.
See, I would have thought nowadays you'd be given. You've got a mouth guard now. Yeah. You put over the top of.
You put it in
mouth.
The thing.
Yeah.
Rather than having your lips yourself.
Or like a alcoholic. A wipe with alcohol that you just wipe over the tummy to. But I must ask actually, because we have particular first aiders.
Yeah.
We don't. We have people there, so you've always got to have a first aider on shift.
Right.
And they go and have refresher courses.
Yeah.
And I should ask them what kind of dummy they have to perform on, because whether it's the same sort of thing now or not. Because it's the actual compressions are different now, aren't they? You do 3 quick ones rather than, because it wasn't there never that you did it to staying alive. The feat of staying alive.
I have no idea
so it's,
about that.
It's I think so, yeah.
But yeah, Captain Peacock's having trouble making her light up.
Yes.
And
in the end he takes the rubber lips off and just blows into the dog's
But apparently
mouth.
this was true in the stock room at the Christmas party with Miss Brahms and Mrs. Slocum.
Yes.
Dirty old Captain Peacock.
Yes, he's naughty when he has a drink.
But all the ladies, it's weird, isn't it? All the way the ladies don't seem to object to him.
No.
So, okay, no comment. But eventually he manages to get it to work. And her chests go up as well, don't they?
He blows so hard he pushes the
bosom
bit up, yeah.
And apparently the same thing happens to Mrs. Granger when she eats meringue.
Yes.
It's just a weird line. I have no idea. Just want to think about that for a minute. Then they get the escape chute out, and
well, it's already out.
Yeah, but it's all to one side, isn't it? You hear about Mr. Humphrey's Paddington Bear.
Yes.
Because that's where he's going to have his fire alarm or something.
He's going to get a private fire alarm put on his flat, and Miss
Brahms says it looks ugly.
Looks ugly. He says, "I'll hide it behind my Paddington Bear."
Yeah.
He's obsessed with Paddington Bear.
If Mrs. Slocum's pussy sees smoke, it rushes into the garden.
Yes. Yes, with its hair on end, probably.
So yeah, this arrangement, the chute, it's a sort of it got some steps up to a sort of false window wall thing, and this sort of tube of canvas, isn't it?
Yeah. Now I want to know how this works, because supposedly the idea is that you put this out of a window and slide down it. But surely to slide down it, it needs to have been pulled from the bottom end to make it sort of tight.
Yeah.
Because you can't just slide down it when it's loose the way it is.
I don't know, yeah. The way they've got it set up
plummet straight to the ground.
It would always be set up like that.
Yeah.
You know, before the fire, but I don't know. But Mr. Lucas says it's not got Evil Knievel, it's Hokum Slocum.
Yes, because Mr. Rumble says the first person, the quicker they go to it, the people can go home, so she volunteers to be first.
And the fire bell goes off.
Yes.
But ironically,
Yeah.
Mr. Rumbold just ignores it this time. What are you going to say?
Yeah, only once, I was going to say.
What?
Only once. It doesn't continue to go. It goes
just
off
go ding.
and stops.
Yeah.
Which is not a very good fire alarm. That should be staying on
continuous. Yeah. And Mrs. Slocum's got entangled in the chute, hasn't she? And she sort of can't get out. They contemplate shoving a ferret down the hole.
Yes, bite her on the bottom and see if she shoot out.
And smoke comes in. And then the firemen appear.
Yes.
And it turns out this is real. And the firemen are Ken Barker and Hamish Roughhead.
Yes.
So Hamish Roughhead, who was Fraser in the Dad's Army stage show, and he's also in the pilot episode of Porridge.
All right.
And then Ken Barker, he's like the mutant in Revelation of the Dance, and he's a stuntman, isn't he?
Yeah. Not so long as Olivier.
No, no, indeed. And Mr. Humphreys ends up getting the fireman's lift.
And he's quite young by the looks of it, because he's meant to be the fire chief.
Yeah.
But I think the only reason that he is the fire chief is because he's a stuntman and he knows how to safely pick up John Inman and carry him. Yeah.
But yeah, that's quite fun. Yeah, it's one of the better ones, I thought. Again, more a series of incidents, really.
Yes,
the whole,
sketches.
Yeah, I mean, the whole, Arab sort of emir thing is, of course, revisited in the movie.
Yes, with a slightly different technique.
With Derek Griffiths.
With Derek Griffiths.
And then that's the balloon, isn't it? What was it, 101, 100 balloon, one trousers and 100 pairs of balloons. Pairs of balloons, 100 balloons. Pairs of balloons.
Oh, 200 balloons.
I know it would. Yeah. But yeah, that's quite fun. Now we just better explain. We seem to have worked out, more by luck than judgment, that if we carry on doing one a week, we'll get to the Christmas special just before Christmas.
Yeah. So we may do it Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Or
we may do it after Christmas.
Yeah, because there's only
three more episodes to go
yes. in this season. So there we go.
Well, 2 more now, actually.
All right. Okay.
2 more now. Yes. Yes. 50 years on, and oh, what a tangled web.
Oh yes. Right. Well, I would say good night, except I'm uploading it in the morning, so we'll say good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
And we'll see you all again soon.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.